I'm going to cover a topic really quick, and I'm just going to tell you my perspective on it. And that is using different weight bullets in the same cartridge. You know, 357 Magnum, 45 ACP, 40, 9mm. I mean, everything that you carry, you have a pretty good variance on the bullet weight. Some not so much, like a 380, etc. But there are some that there is a wide array of projectiles you can use. 357 Magnum is one that has a very wide array of bullet weights that you can use. 38 Special as well, 9mm, 45 Auto, you know. But I'm going to use the 357 Magnum as an example because it is one that has quite the wide array of bullet weights, anywhere from usually 110 grain all the way up to 180 grain. And I'll explain, and what I'm going to say is it's going to be common with every other cartridge, the same theory. So what you really get here, when you compare two different bullets of different weights, and I have a couple examples here. This is a 125 grain bullet and a 158 grain bullet. So what you get there is the lighter bullet of the same diameter is always going to be a little bit shorter. So what you're going to have is you're going to have a bullet that's going to go deeper into a particular case if it's longer and heavier than what you do on a short bullet. And that can, you know, there's a couple things you got to know about that. Advantages and disadvantages. The advantage would definitely be on a longer bullet. You can get the same amount of pressure or energy, pretty much, on a little bit less gunpowder, which will reduce your muzzle flash, of course, and may even reduce recoil to some degree. Your 125 grain on this particular cartridge, you have to put more gunpowder in it to get essentially the same amount of pressure and essentially the same amount of energy. And really, barrel length really doesn't play a huge part in this in your average size handguns. You know, let's say a 4-inch barrel 357 revolver, you're not going to have a big difference in the power levels between the two of those if you have them at about the same pressure rating. And if you put it in a snub nose barrel, about the same. If you ever notice something, whenever you get a plus P round, usually it's in the lighter variant of a particular bullet weight. 45 Auto, for instance. Sure, a 230 grain could exist in a plus P, but generally you're talking a 185 grain. They deal with 185s, and they do that so you have a little bit more gunpowder with the same amount of pressure. So that does a couple of different things, and I'm going to give it a little bit of an example with one of my carry rounds here of what that can do. These are the 38 Special HSTs, and they're put so deeply in the case that they're all the way in there. So the actual area where there's gunpowder is very, very small. So what that allows for is to get the same pressure on a very, very low powder charge. But what that actually does is it will give you pretty much your maximum velocity and efficiency even on a snub nose barrel. And you can see that on a test of this particular ammo on Mr. Guns and Gear. He shot it through a little J-frame just like this, and he also shot it through a 4-inch barrel 38 Special revolver, and he actually had more velocity on the little snub nose. It was within the same range, it was close, but that just goes to show you that when you have less gunpowder but you push a bullet really deep, because this is really the extreme of pushing a bullet deep, you do get more efficiency on that gunpowder, and you're going to pretty much max out that capability of that round without wasting powder. And it's kind of the same thing when, let's compare the 125 grain 357 Magnum. You can still get pretty much the same amount of power, even if not a little bit more, with the 125 grain. You know, they call that the full house load because they're filling up the house or filling up the case with gunpowder, versus the 158. You can't fill it up all the way. You gotta have more room for the bullet. So with that, really what it comes down to is you're going to have more efficiency and a little bit of a shorter barrel with your heavier bullet. It doesn't necessarily give you more power in a shorter barrel, but it's more efficient. This will still come out with about the same power factor, but you're wasting a lot of powder if you're shooting it through a short barrel, because a lot of that powder will come out and you're not going to burn it up anyway. It's just going to produce more flash. But the powder and the pressure that it is working with still does propel it at about the same amount of energy. Now if you take these two and you put them in a really, really long barrel, you're certainly going to have more power with that lighter bullet. if you look at Buffalo Bore stuff, I mean, they push that stuff up hot with their 125 grains because they're packing that full. You simply can't pack as much powder in a heavier bullet. And that's the same for like a 9mm. You look at 9mm plus Ps, generally you don't see them in the 147s. They can do it. If they're going to make one that's a 500 foot-pounds of energy in a 9mm Luger, they're going to do it with the 115 grain. That's just how it is. To get the most power on that pressure, you have to reduce your bullet weight. But you're really not efficient with that powder and a short barrel. That's just how it is. So really, I mean, when it comes down to power factors, though, not a huge difference there. But just keep in mind, you are wasting a lot of gunpowder, a lot of potential energy if you do fire the lighter bullets through a really short barrel that are packed up appropriately. That's my take on it anyways. It's a very simple take. I mean, you know, less deep, more powder on the same pressure. More deep on a heavy bullet, less powder to get the pressure. So anyways, that's my take on it. Take it for what it is. It really doesn't really tell you a whole lot, because no matter what ammo you use for any particular caliber, it's going to be pretty effective. But when you choose those lighter bullets, generally you see better performance on the longer barrels. You know, would a 185 plus P45 really be something I would want to shoot through a little subcompact 3-inch barrel? No, I would rather stick with a 230 grain, because I'm still getting a good amount of pressure and it's burning it up in a short barrel. Now if I go to a 5-inch barrel 1911, certainly on a 185 grain 45, with that extra powder, you're going to get the pressure and you're going to get a little extra barrel length to burn it. So in that situation, it's worth it. So for me, I guess what I'm saying is, you know, probably a better idea to use rounds like this to be as efficient as possible with my 38. And 158 grain is probably a better choice, to be honest, in a little snubby barrel. But if you have a long enough barrel to burn it up, you will get more energy on the lighter bullets if they are a full house or packed to the maximum, which it should be if it's a defensive round. So that's my take on it, and as always, thanks for watching.